I'm about to give a content warning for this episode which contains mild spoilers. If you'd like to avoid this, skip forward 20 seconds. Content warning. This episode contains scenes depicting childhood trauma and emotional distress. See episode description for timestamps if you wish to skip. Thank you for listening, and we hope you enjoy this episode.
Welcome to Romancing the Dungeon, a softcore D&D adventure about 4 heroes on the greatest quest of all, to find true love. Previously on Romancing the Dungeon.
Hello, old pal. Don't that merry little band of travellers look suspiciously like the people off those wanted posters?
I say, old chum, whomever do you mean?
Those ones there! That tall drink of water bard, the smouldering and brooding Ganassi, that enigmatic monster hunter, and that, awkward-looking elf.
Oh, those folk. No, that couldn't possibly. That fella's nose doesn't look as perfect as it should. I believe, old boy, it's as they say, a case of mistaken identity.
Yes. You're right, old bean. They don't look like that type to have inadvertently brought down a love potion smuggling ring, made a terrifying adversary of a demon, kidnapped an aristocrat, and now be wanted across the continent for evil crimes and scheming. Not to mention having gotten themselves mixed up in some big picture involving the resurrection of an old god.
I say, old chap, how do you know so much about those, supposedly, dastardly criminals?
Oh, I follow them on Twitter at D8Dungeon, and I regularly listen back to some of my favourite episodes of the show on Spotify, iTunes, and anywhere, really, podcasts are hosted.
A podcast, you say? How positively delightful. I must be sure to catch up, or as those millennials say, subscribe.
Hey, mistress, what you doing? My daddy's over there, he's asleep and he smells like drink.
Who do you think sold it to him, my dear?
Do you?
Why?
Because you're his daughter.
Why?
You'll have to ask your mother that.
How?
Are you lonely, miserable, or just plain horny? Well, you've taken the first steps to solving your problems. At least your dating ones. Welcome to D8. Devoted, desired, dreamy or dirty. Dapper dates for dejected daters. My name is Roz Greypurse, founder, CEO, and love wizard, and former Miss Tezra Beauty, 9th alternate. The crown would have been mine too if not for the criminally unfair standards at which are forced upon women. That and my own criminal record. To get started, please fill out the attached questionnaire. Question 11. Possibly, I don't know, I've lost track of my questions. If you could be any kind of flower, what would you be and why?
I guess I'd probably be a daisy. So, just simple, cute, bright.
Via and simple, there we go. Perfect.
Hi everyone, and welcome to another installment of Thane's Tidbits, where I, Thane, talk about the tidbits that relate to my character. Obviously, I would be a mushroom, because I'm a fun guy.
So if I was a flower, I would definitely be a tread softly, otherwise known as a nose burn or a finger rot. It's an attractive little flower, but the fruits are covered in fierce stinging hairs that break off into the skin and release toxins. Stinging lasts about an hour.
If I was a flower, I would be a Venus flytrap. Because I generally tend to lay in wait for my prey to come to me, and then I latch on and have them waste away until they're a husk of their former self.
Can confirm.
You also have a massive mouth, Nate.
Trust and believe.
We start with the four of you on the run again. Well, yeah, not on the run. You've left the campsite very, very hastily, and you were trying to find a space that you could drop and rest your weary bones and also so you don't kill the horses that you got from Giles for free. It's quite late at night, and the road in front of you is winding around. There are trees kind of sporadically erupting out of it. You overhear the sound, like you've been on these horses now for about 20-25 minutes, and just something kind of catches your ear, and as you kind of round the bend, you just hear kind of it's paper flapping in the wind, and they're posted along the stretch of road. Nearly every tree has a wanted poster featuring all of you or some of you kind of pressed and glued onto it. A few are kind of starting to come loose because it's that really cheap glue that you get, you don't pay for that on-brand stuff.
I start pulling some of them off the trees as we're passing by.
I'm going to not slow down, but also grab them off the trees. Just
I'm just riding ahead looking for somewhere to camp that isn't, infested with children or drunk parents.
Okay, give me a survival check with disadvantage, just because you're a human and can't see in the dark.
Oh, wow.
That's a 19.
You find, like I said, as that road kind of verges around it's just kind of a natural kind of cliff cut into the countryside around you. There is, you would have missed it otherwise, but it was just the fact that you looked back to see what Fia was doing, and there seems to be, you kind of caught a glimpse of it, and you recognize it's an almost overgrown track off this road. It doesn't seem to be worn, there doesn't seem to be fresh hooves, but you can clearly see where tracks would have been, carts would have come down through it, and you can see where the tuft of grass is growing in the middle.
Okay.
Now it's all kind of starting to kind of grow outwards.
Yeah.
So it seems to be kind of an abandoned road or a small slip road that doesn't seem to have any fresh tracks on it because the ground is a bit wet.
And who's come up closest to me? Because Fia's still doing her.
Fia's behind me, so it's kind of Nate and Tefesta, with Nate actually braiding his horse's hair.
Yeah, I'll lead the way through. I'll get off the horse and kind of lead it through this brush, considering it's so overgrown.
You jump down off the horse. They still don't have a clue, what you're doing.
Oh, yes.
It's almost like you have to role play this in this fantasy role playing game.
I know it's been like a week.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Hey, no, I found an actual proper place for us to camp that's off the road, and no one's going to follow this. Look at it. It's got stuff on it.
He points at Fia.
He's just lying on the ground.
Hey guys, leave Fia alone, okay? I'm sick of everybody ganging up on her.
Thanks, Nate.
Did you just say leaf?
yeah, whatever. Yeah. Okay. Those of you with dark vision can make out a little bit more of the road, and it is overgrown. You don't see any fresh tracks, be it cart or horse or even footprint. There's no signs that this is being used or has been used in the last, we'll say, 12 to 24 hours. So it looks to be relatively quiet for the time being.
Guys, it looks to be relatively quiet for the time being, so I think we should just...
I mean, I was saying that to the people who could see it, not you.
Payne is making a guess on his expertise.
Guys, it looks relatively quiet for the time being.
Is there a fucking echo out here?
I'm just gonna go.
I know, I only
and,
hear Festa.
I'm just gonna go and grab Thane's little cheek and go. by which I mean
try.
give it a squeeze and shake it around. A
Yeah, I know, because again, this is the audio.
And I'm just gonna walk past, leading my horse with several beautiful braids in its hair.
And I resist the urge to set his horse on fire.
The four of you with your horses, you at first it does seem like something that you might be able to ride down, but the road, not only is it much quieter, it's obviously been disused for some time, and it's not as easy to ride as the main road that you were on a short while ago. You find yourself having to jump off and then kind of lead the horses through. Everybody actually give me an animal handling check.
Natty tease.
What's that?
Natural 20.
Okay.
Not one of those.
Oh, no. 6.
5.
Okay. So...
Also 5.
All right, okay. You and your horse, what have you decided to name your horse, by the way?
Jesus.
Because I know you called yours Pierre in the last episode.
My guy's name was Pierre, yes,
Yeah.
and still is.
Okay.
Unless I've rolled so badly, he no longer has a name.
He's forgotten. He's got amnesia. He's got horse amnesia.
Okay, let me just grab the horse by the head for a minute.
Jesus.
Shall I go over to you?
I'm going to look deep into... I'm just going to look under the undercarriage. It's,
Her.
Going to look deep into her eyes. Twilight Sparkle.
Okay, Twilight Sparkle, the horse,
Yeah.
gazes straight back into your eyes. There's an instant bond. And the other horses, so the wind has kind of picked up and it's kind of howling and it's making that sort of screechy, whistling sound through the kind of the bare trees and branches. and they're starting to get a little bit spooked. And as the road starts to sort of deteriorate in terms of quality, they're becoming a little bit more resistant to all of you, with the exception of Twilight Sparkles. Pierre rears back up as the wind kind of rushes, and a branch just kind of snags into you and your cloak, narrowly kind of avoiding your face and kind of scratching you. But he rears up and just makes a horse. I'll put it in here in post.
No, go ahead.
No, you can do it.
Go on. Yeah.
That no, it's the
Sounds
horse.
more like Twilight Sparkles.
No, Twilight Sparkles is ooh. And straight away Pierre is up on his back legs and kind of kicking, and he goes to turn, kind of pulling on the reins from your hand, and he's gone. Hephaestus and Fia, since you didn't name your horses,
You didn't give us a chance.
okay, before I snatch them away from your hands, would you like to name these animals?
If you want to make the heartbreak even worse.
Yeah, I do. I
Okay.
really do. Apple.
I love how nobody said it. Everyone just resists that.
Elizabeth.
I don't know what's worse, Apple or Elizabeth.
I love that, like, Elizabeth has, like, a ruff around her neck.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
She's very. There's something very kind of the first about her.
Yeah.
Pierre is up, panicking, and kicks back, and then Elizabeth and Apple kind of follow suit. Twilight Sparkles is just, and we've connected. There's nothing's phasing
There is
her right
no
now.
woman out there who can resist my charm.
Horse or otherwise.
Yeah. Just stress this. This is a horse. There are laws.
So I'm assuming the gelatinous cube then was probably female also.
The gelatinous cube had no gender.
It was cube.
That wind that's kind of cutting through you, like, you're all kind of taken aback by the horse is kind of getting spooked, and it is that sort of like, oh god, it's the middle of the night, it's dark, it's cold. You start to feel the kind of the tiredness of the last few days just seeping into your bones and across your body. As you delve further into this on this trail, you suddenly start to find yourself sinking a little bit more into the ground, that it's that little bit more loose, and your boots, I mean, you're not coming up to your knees or anything yet, but it's your boots are kind of soaking into the dirt around you. You can hear it kind of squelching and squelching as you kind of pull your boot free and then take another step, when it finally feels like you can't go any further. Miraculously, amongst this kind of smattering of husks of trees bending and breaking in the wind, there in this clearing you find a rather large slab of stone propped up against another rock, creating kind of a would-be shelter, a small one albeit, but a small shelter in the middle of this clearing.
Dibs.
I don't know.
Dibs on the rock shelter.
It looks really, how do you say it? Murdery.
Dry.
I think it rocks.
I was. There's the murder.
I mean, yeah, I guess do we actually want to camp here?
I think
Yes.
it's our best option.
Yeah, okay, let's sleep rough.
Immediately when you step into the clearing, you find the ground that much more solid and drier, and you make your way towards this the stone kind of shelter, be it natural or man-made. You haven't been able to discern, and it starts to rain. So you guys are going to need to give me a survival check for this. Fia looks like she's done something bad.
Can I give
on your survival checks?
I'm not one.
Can
my
I give
survival
them-
check.
I not want my survival check.
I got 9.
Can I give them advantage since I'm using, create bonfire and making things a little bit toastier, a little nicer, a bit of atmosphere?
No.
Nope.
When you're DMing Romancing the Dungeon, the podcast, you
I got a natural 20, so I think I do DM now.
Okay, here you go. Here's life now.
I'm actually going to burn that inspiration that I got.
So Nat won it.
Yep.
And 9.
And nat 20.
So it's not so much do we survive this outcome against the
No,
rock.
I don't.
And the rock falls on you.
Pneumonia, the real enemy.
So, with your Nat 20 though, do you want to give me a perception or investigation check, whichever of the two?
Yeah, sure. Am I perceiving for fiends, fae, or undead?
No, you're not.
Okay.
No. But you are, like, it's just because you did so well with kind of creating the bonfire, that kind of quick illumination.
Went into full Bear Grylls camp mode, like, hey, let's
Yeah,
do
you
this, and this.
you possibly spotted something.
He's
maybe
the only outdoors person I know.
me.
16.
So, Thane, it's more before you kind of cast create bonfire. So I could insert the sound effect here as a reminder. You've got you kind of get your bearings of it, and the first thing you notice is there are remains of some camp here before. Like they're not warm. They're very much old, but you can definitely see
Soggy bedrolls and things.
See what?
Soggy bedrolls.
I thought you said Sonic. I was like, yes, someone's Sonic pajamas have been left behind.
Man, we gotta get the brand synergy.
We gotta get in there.
Soggy bedroll sounds like a nice dessert.
Well, it was more just the
Band name.
I'm grimacing. Like if I grimace any harder, I'm gonna snap a neck bone. You know, it's more the remnants of a campfire or something.
Okay.
I thought you meant like bones when you said
No,
remains.
no,
I was like, oh, well, this place looks
well,
safe.
I didn't get to finish.
Bones burn. They're good for the fire.
Oh, God.
Okay, the fact that you just said that and you in agreement is just terrifying. No, the remains of a campfire. They're very old. Even the timber itself is a bit damp in that sort of way that that wood soaks up moisture.
Yep.
And you just create a bonfire. Immediately, Hephaestus, you just boomf, you're down. There's no trying to make yourself comfortable. You find a spot next to the fire. You lie down and you are unconscious.
I put a blanket over her fest and I'm like, sleep tight and
Somebody cares.
don't. Oh God, I hope nothing bad happens.
Nate, it's much the same thing that you don't immediately drop unconscious, but you are feeling the effects of the last couple of days.
I'm assuming that Twilight Sparkle is sort of big spooning me.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Nice.
Yeah, she's giving you kind of a good back support there as well, like for you to kind of lean into as well. Yeah, and she does help stave off the wind outside, so she's kind of creating a little kind of wall for you.
Yeah. Oh,
She's just a good little horse.
yeah.
I just sit on my own near the fire.
Sad.
Not explicitly, but if someone were to come along and just see this scene, they'd be like, oh.
Or if someone was listening to that being described.
Perhaps on some form of podcast.
I lie down near the fire as well, but I use my backpack as a pillow for my head.
Okay.
A little bit less sad.
Well, a little bit less sad because you had a backpack to hold on to. Thane's hugging himself.
Sophia, you nicked one of those posters, huh?
Yeah, I nicked a few of them, and I pass over a couple to him.
Are any of them better?
They're all just posters of Nate.
Of just Nate.
They're just Nate. Yeah, all the ones you grabbed were just Nate.
Oh, that's telling.
What did you?
It was dark. I mean, yeah, you have dark vision and all that. But you were on horseback. You were doing
I
it
was
as you
on
went along.
horseback. I slowed down. I was picking them off one
Yeah,
by
and you
telling
Which
me
means
the
you did it on
whole
purpose.
route,
Not the
tree
whole
after
route. No,
tree
just
after tree was just Nate.
no.
I think someone's harboring a little crush.
Definitely not.
It's more a case of you were grabbing as you were going along. You weren't necessarily stopping to go, oh, this is my one. I better take that one down. The ones that you happened to grab were all Nate's posted.
Happened to grab.
I mean, the rest of us are definitely wanted. These are just you, Nate. This is just.
Oh,
a
I'm
big
definitely wanted.
This is. I mean, criminally for crimes that you've done.
That too.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. I still don't know what we could be wanted for.
I kind of take a. Can I take a closer look at the poster?
So it's Nathaniel Obsidian and McKnight. It's a very, very good drawing of Nate, and wanted 10,000 gold pieces. There is the stamp that to show that it's verified. On closer inspection, you do see that it is the official stamp of the city of Tezrab.
We're in trouble.
Conceptually, yes. Because we do have to go to Tezrab for...
To see Sykes.
I was going to say for your wife, and I'm concerned that wasn't your number one priority.
But he knows where my wife is.
No, he doesn't.
Doesn't he? He does, because he's...
Because Nana and Rash are, I'm assuming, still probably with Eugenia.
Nana said to meet me. Now, I know this feels like, 6 months ago, but it was only 2 days ago. But she did say to meet her for a pint the next time I was in town. So, would I know where that could be? Probably
Possibly the Yellow Cauldron.
Tavern,
That might be where their haunt is. If Sykes told you to meet him there and they know him, because he did say if he's not there, to let them know that you're looking for Sykes and he would come.
We just need to figure out how we're going to get into Tezrab now without getting caught. We're definitely going to have to be very careful about our approach. And we do need to figure this all out. Why are we wanted? Is it to do with Eugenia? Is it her brother?
I think Nate is into some deep shit that he hasn't told us yet. I think you're you know, the real Walter White of this group.
Kind of on hearing that, subconsciously, you kind of hear Hephaestus give out a little chuckle. Like that. If you want to give me a Constitution saving throw just to see if that little power nap you've had has been enough.
10.
Yeah, someone giving out to kind of Nate. It's
He's such a piece of shit.
yeah, Hephaestus wakes up saying you're such a piece of shit.
What's going on?
We're trying to figure out who has hanging up these posters of us and for what reason.
I mean, process of elimination, I'm going to say Eugenia's brother, who hates all of us and is very rich and can do whatever he wants for any reason.
I know, but it really puts some massive targets on our backs.
Yeah, no, that's the point.
I mean, who else could it have been? It definitely wasn't Sykes, because we met him, and he was relatively chill.
What do you think, Twilight Sparkle? I agree.
Like, what's even really happening with Eugenia?
I don't even know. Like, she's been taken away. I'm heartbroken. And I want to find her. Honestly, I'm just in an absolute tizzy over all of this. Oh, Jesus, Hephaestus.
Now, that sounded like Twilight Sparkle.
That's kind of worse somehow.
Well, it smelled like Hephaestus.
But do we really have to go after her?
Whoa, like the other day you were all about true love, and
you
Nate,
were-
it's so sweet. What happened to Fia from 3 days ago?
I was sweet until he was all over Ardit as soon as he could get his hands on him.
I'll have you know that I was put under a spell.
I don't know. I'm trying to figure this out. I mean, we really are in such a weird situation. And so much has happened in the last few days.
I mean, from my personal experience, I don't know about you, Hephaestus, Nate, or actually I don't really know where any of you come from, but whenever I run into a bad situation, I just pack my bags and move away. And the best part is, don't have many bags.
I don't think that's even possible for us anymore, though.
Look, I don't give a shit about Eugenia as a person, but it sounds like if she is in charge of the family, then she can make all of this stop. So if we can find her and expose her brother, we might be able to get out of this. Do we have any leads? Anything?
Didn't you say something about dreaming about a lake and a big house on a lake? Do you think that could be the Flatstone house?
Oh, yeah, maybe. Do you know where that may be?
Well, the only thing I can think of is the lake might be the lake on the edge of Tezerab. So maybe the house is along the edge of the lake?
It is the closest lake to us, so we would probably start with that one.
I mean, as well, like with the books, some of the books and that I found all have stamps for the Library of Tezerab as well. We could find some information there that might lead us towards the Flatstone estate, wherever it is.
I gotta say, Fia, you really are a smart cookie. I'm really impressed with your the way you're dealing with this right now, and it's I want to thank you just personally because, as I said, I'm so worked up over having lost my love.
Thank you, Nate, I guess.
No, thank you, Fia.
I don't know how to take that compliment.
I want to look her dead in the eye and just be like, don't.
You've been sitting around the campfire or bonfire now that Thane has made it a little bit brighter. You've been trying to make some sense of what has happened over the last couple of days and nights, with it all kind of kicking off in Herb. And who is Eugenia Flatstone? Why was she going by the name Raven Direheart? Why did she marry Nate? Who the hell is Hedonna? And Fia, you recall the books that you have snatched, the ones that were from the library, and the ones that you also found in the Convent of Devotion and Purity. So you have The Art of Making Love... potions by Rosalinda Greypurse. And you also, with Thane, when you were in the storeroom, you came across the ledger, which was written, or had a thieves' cant code written into which you had recognized but didn't really have the time to go through. So you have a lot more.
And I have the book by
Asmodean, yeah,
as well.
The wisest of the wise.
So far.
So if can I pull the 3 of these books out? I'm going to keep the ledger for myself, but I'm going to actually hold out the other 2 to see if anyone wants to take them and have a look at them.
Yeah, I'll take the love potion book and start kind of tinkering with my alchemist kit and see if I can put anything together as we're chilling around this bonfire, but a reasonable distance from the bonfire so I don't lose my eyebrows.
I don't really read, so I'm kind of...
I'll take the other one, but if I remember right, it was in a language we can read anyway.
No, because you had all kind of flicked through it,
Yeah.
but there wasn't. But you can have a kind of a browse through it. So you
I
see
know there was a few notes in the margins and stuff from Sops
Sops,
anyway. I'll
yeah.
just dig through and see if there's anything else.
Okay, so if you want to give me an intelligence check, let's say knowledge arcana, Thane, if you want to give me a medicine check, just to see if you can do anything with. Did you just nat 1?
Yeah. Again.
I have a +4 to Arcana.
It doesn't cancel it out, I'm afraid. We'll come back to that in a second. So,
Okay.
Yeah, that's 14. For my
Oh.
potiony stuff.
so the book details the art of making a love potion,
Are there
and
drawings? Is there art in the art book?
no, it's not it's not a kiddie book that you get at Christmas.
All right, well, fucking excuse me for wanting a bit of fun after a heavy day.
Make the potion, color in the potion.
Time
Oh
to
my God.
undercut Roz.
You're checking kind of against the list of the ingredients that you see marked inside it, and some of it it's fairly bog standard. Like it's like essence of water, eye of newt, 4
Hair of horse?
4 hairs of horses. No, like some of it's fair, and then there's other stuff that you have never heard of before. Like this is something that is way beyond kind of your field of knowledge. Some of it you might I think I heard that word, or I think I've heard that being said before. But checking it off against what you have, the book is obviously for somebody who's either an expert or in their field or would have access to these supplies. So yeah, it's not, like you don't have the stuff on you to brew. Again, you do come across the notes made by the 2 separate handwriting that you reckon is probably Ardat and Lilu's, R.I.P. Again, the notes just kind of detail the trial and error, what worked, what didn't work. So there's nothing kind of jumping out at you, and you're not going to be able to sit here and brew your own potion.
Yeah, probably not right now.
Okay, that's. So it's
Multiple paper cuts.
no, it's not even paper cuts. You actually kind of when you take the book, you open it, and the spine of the book is so frail. You've actually just managed to just split it.
Oh, no.
And a couple of pages spill out and catch fire. And,
No!
Oh, we're going to get fined for that.
you spend most of the time trying to kind of fix the book and trying to. I think this page was in this, or there's no numbers on it. Like
I just hand it back to Fia.
so, the book is somewhat thinner, and,
A little bit singed on the edges.
and yeah, it's kind of. It's not holding the pages in, so you're going to need to kind of jam it down to.
I didn't find anything in there. Sorry, I tried really hard.
I put it back into my backpack just to keep it safe and secure.
Okay.
Oops.
So going through the ledger, you have actually with the time that you've had this time round, you've broken, like I said, like when you first found it, you'd broken the code. And again, some of the names were familiar to you. One name that you see kind of appearing more often than others is Garthok Deep River. And you recognize the name. He is an orc, a councilman in the city of Tezrab, who is directly over the markets and merchants within the city. So anyone that looking to set up or paying their taxes usually goes through him. He is kind of a well-known figure. It looks like he was buying a fairly regular supply of the love potions. Not in that sort of discounted. If you buy 100 bottles, we'll give you 10% off. It seems to be kind of like it's like usually 14 bottles every couple of weeks. The other thing that you have managed to glean from the book this time around, now that you've kind of sat down with some time to examine it, is one of the last entries in the ledger you see is a rather significant, in the thousands, a donation from the Flotstam estate to the Convent of Devotion and Purity. It seems to be dated about 3 to 4 weeks ago.
So seeing this, I kind of jump up from my sitting position and I'm like, guys, you have to look at this. It's I don't know if you can read it, but I'll tell you what it is anyway. One of the last entries in the ledger book from the temple was from the Flotsam estate. I think Norris gave them a huge donation, probably to do with housing Eugenia there.
Yeah, didn't he say he was sending her away?
Yeah, so this kind of ties him to that.
She wasn't there, though.
Well, that was because of Nana. She decided not to bring her there, I'm assuming.
Ah, very clever.
It's all coming together, I think. Is it? How did you even meet Eugenia?
We just wrote letter. It was like a long running romance where we just kind of send letters back and forth.
What, you just like sent letters out into the ether and you got a girlfriend?
All give me an insight check, Hephaestus, with advantage.
18.
17.
19.
Okay, so you all know straight away that he is just talking out his ass. That there's something it's not a lie, but there's something not entirely true about what Nathaniel is saying.
It's okay, man. Sometimes people meet through weird ways. You're down in a dungeon and you kill all the goblins and one's left and one's like kind of hot, and you're like, well.
I'm sorry, excuse me, sir.
Let's not deflect.
Are you referring to Eugenia as a hot goblin?
No, I'm not.
I was about to tuck my glove away, but now it's coming out. And I swing my glove and slap him in the face.
Oh, I know how you found her. Was it a personal ad? Did one of you put out a personal ad and the other wrote back?
I'm sorry, did I not just say that we sent letters back and forth to each other?
Yeah, but that's how you started, right? You read a personal ad or she read yours?
You don't have to bullshit us.
I'm not.
Hephaestus underlines the word bullshit.
We were pen pals for the longest time, and we had an emotional
How'd
connection.
you become pen pals?
Asking for a friend who maybe wants to try that out
I don't
sometime.
understand how it's relevant to finding her now.
Well, sometimes to get to the end, you must start at the beginning.
Maybe there's some clues in your romantic, mysterious past about where she might be now.
Yeah, like did you try like some things that didn't work on previous lovers that really worked with her? Like were you really nailing that like romantic letter? Like I don't know, I've never actually written one. How does it go?
Look, generally, guys, I just tend to live in the moment. Okay, if we're talking about previous relationships, they were fairly tragic.
Did
And
people die?
I'm trying my best to learn from them
On the inside.
and get sort of like more of an emotional connection going, and that's what I'm doing with the junior. That's why we've had this connection. This is why I want to look for her right now. Can we please focus on finding my wife? I'm getting really annoyed.
You couldn't make an emotional connection with a rock.
You made one with a horse and a cube.
Thank you, Thane. Yeah. Thank you.
I think. That just more speaks to your charismatic ability.
Thank you very much. You are correct, sir.
Which I've got nothing. I'm just trying to put these pieces together, and this fire is really annoying me. And I'm trying to make alchemist fire in my fucking alchemist kit, and it's just not working out. It's been a long day, guys.
I put the glove on my hand and I just stroke his face.
Okay. So the same glove he slapped you with a moment ago, he's now stroking your face with.
This is how Nate apologizes.
That's
Ross
okay. I
Grey
get that.
person's tail is twitching somewhere.
Oh, it's true.
I suppose the other big thing we have to talk about is these love marks that we've got. I mean, that's a very big problem for whatever they might do to us.
It's more like a fist-sized problem.
I'm guessing they're like something to do with that like hot woman back in Herb.
Hadana?
Yeah.
She was there at the temple as well.
Oh, she was! Yes!
She did look familiar.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nate, turn around. I want to get a better look at yours because I can't get a look at mine. Okay. And I don't want to be inappropriate.
I turn around and I pull my pants down.
All right.
All the way, right? Like past the ass kind of thing?
Well, yeah, you want to get a full view.
Yeah. No, move closer to the fire. I got to get a proper look at this.
Okay, I'm gonna get my buns all toasty.
Okay. So your buns are very toasty. The rest of you have a eclipse-size view of...
The moon is out tonight.
Yeah, Nathaniel Obsidian McKnight's butt. And they're just on his lower back. You see, in the light of the fire, it looks like this tattoo. It's a kind of spiraling thorns wrapped around a heart in a rose or some sort of flower. It almost seems to be alive.
Is it monochromatic or is there color?
There is very little color in it. It looks somewhat kind of faded, but at the same time, like I said, the thorned kind of vines kind of emanating from it do seem to be kind of coiling and spiraling. They don't go anywhere, but it's that sort of like crappy illusion effect you get on the box of a cereal sometimes.
Yeah.
But
is there anything else on Nate's back? Lower back, ass, thighs?
No, he's fine. He's got
More
no
shameful tattoos.
No, roll for hairiness. Smooth.
Like a baby seal.
No.
I mean, Fia, you got your notebook out. Can you do like a quick sketch of that? Commit that to our archives.
Yeah, I'm going to try and draw it.
Okay. So she draws it, including Nate's ass.
Nate, just stay still for like, how long do you need? 5 minutes?
Well, if anyone has an idea about what Hadana meant, fix your love, I suppose, in relation To yourself?
That's pretty judgy. There's nothing wrong with me.
Well, see, but that doesn't make sense because I'm incredibly smitten with Eugenia, and
But then the mark would be gone, right?
I mean,
but because it'll go if I find her.
Wait, we don't even know how these
Because
marks
what's broken
work.
is the fact that we're apart from each other, and then if I find her, then I'll be healed, and then I can probably help you guys out or something.
Festa throws up in her mouth a little bit.
Hephaestus, seriously, you need personal hygiene.
Has anyone had any issues with the mark? Like, has it done anything to you? Have you felt anything? Like, it's definitely hurt me once.
I felt it once too. Just slightly. It felt warm and then it stopped.
No, I definitely got like a proper stinging sensation at some point.
Yeah, mine's sort of like kind of like a pins and needles type thing, but better or worse depending.
We may keep watching that a little bit better, maybe.
I mean, we're
don't
looking
know.
at one right now. You could be our test dummy.
What do you want to do?
I don't know.
Slap him.
What about you, Thane? Has yours done anything peculiar?
No, it hasn't. No, it took me a sec there because we've had a whirlwind of a time. But no.
Maybe if we find out something more about this guy Asmodean the Wise.
Yeah, if he can tell us how the hell this weird thing on our backs actually worked, that would be great. But so far, it hasn't killed us.
Or we could go back to Father Sops.
Yeah, but what would he know?
Well, I mean, he did resurrect her.
Yeah, and you saw how useful
now that
he was.
Hephaestus like ruined that book, we can go back to Sops and he can sort it out for us.
We've passed by Herb though.
Okay, but at least they're not trying to kill us there.
That's true.
That's true.
Just so you've been kind of like, even Hephaestus, even with your power nap, the four of you are kind of starting to feel the effects and that initial sort of, oh, we found somewhere. You're starting to kind of fade. Conversation kind of naturally starts to kind of come to a kind of its own stop. There's nothing kind of else left to be said.
How much alchemist fire do I make while we're doing this?
Thane, you offer to kind of take first watch, just because everyone else seems to be kind of half asleep anyway, as it is. And just as it's that sort of like, what'll I do to kind of occupy my mind? You find yourself kind of flicking through the book. You're like, oh, I'll make something with the 4. Give me a D4 roll and take 1 from it.
What happens if I roll 1?
Then you made a really crap batch.
2.
So you've made 1. You've got 1 vial of alchemist fire.
Heck yes.
I hope that's not very strong. And
Maybe if you put it with some oil
okay,
and
you
create a
don't have any oil.
bonfire. I do have oil.
So, okay, you don't. It's gone. Twilight Sparkles drank it. You try to keep your mind and your hands busy, and you kind of get set to task of making some alchemist's fire. Just as you kind of you go to kind of give the book back to Fia, you see that she has kind of curled up in like a fetal position almost, with her head resting on her backpack. She's also kind of nestled into Hephaestus, who... Would Hephaestus share some of the bedroll?
With Fia.
Okay, yeah, okay. So again, they're both kind of half in the bedroll, just trying to stay warm. Twilight Sparkles and Nate are full on big spoon, little spoon, and it's actually quite cute.
This is some Luke Skywalker tauntaun shit.
Yeah.
Well,
he
only
hasn't
cameras
cut her
existed.
open inside her belly. Yeah.
He spent all of last episode talking about eating a horse. I don't know what the fuck you're capable of.
You take the book and you just kind of, you go to kind of slide it over to her, and then the wind rises once more and it catches, and you just went into the book looking to see, oh, well, how do I make a love potion, or what can I glean from this? And when the page is open, they kind of flitter back and forth, and it ends on the kind of the rest of the front page, the one where there's usually nothing, or like a foreword.
Yeah.
And what you don't see the word forward, you see a skull and crossbones. And
Pirate book.
do you want to do
Yeah.
there's a skull and crossbones, and instead of forward it says forewarning. And
Clever.
thank you. I spent 8 days coming up with that. 8 days. Mistian Ministry does not approve the contents of this manual.
Fuck whoever those guys are, and I keep flicking through it.
Nate, you wake up to the sound of just music just pulsing all around you. There's a crowd just giving it absolute socks. You kind of thumping it, but it's not coming from the room it's like the room next door. You wake up and you find yourself lying on a cot in a very almost 4x4 room. It looks familiar. This looks like the very first place you ever lived in when you moved out of home. Like you can see your personal effects on the like kind of half suspended over a sink on a hook, tucked under the sink, under that table, wrapped in cloth, gathered in dust. You make out the silhouette of your lute.
Well, hey, I'm guessing that's my, adoring public waiting for me, and they want me to play them some music, so I pick up my lute.
You reach down, you grab the lute, and you pull back the cloth from it, and it's just, dust just kind of goes everywhere. So the lute looks absolutely brand new, pristine, as if it's never been played before. You swing open the door, and immediately the sound just blasts you, and you can hear the crowd. You can feel their energy just kind of wafting up straight towards you, and it seems to be kind of traveling down this long corridor. And you can see stairs. Now there's torches kind of lit, or kind of ensconced, these lamps kind of ensconced onto the walls. Kind of around you, people are kind of moving past. There's a man and a woman kind of embraced, half kissing. She's kind of got swampy eyes and a chicken breast in one hand, but she has this young soldier pinned up against a wall, and she's mauling him and the chicken breast. It sounds like some kind of party, and you feel completely...
Sounds like my kind of party.
Yeah.
I suppose I'll continue up the corridor. I'm assuming this is leading.
You're heading towards the music?
Yeah.
You find yourself running up this corridor, and almost seems to never end. It's like it's stretching out before you, like almost as if you'll never reach. Like the further you run, the further the exit or the entrance or whatever it is to this stage seems to be getting further and further away from you. All of a sudden, you find yourself standing there on this wooden stage, looking out across this long, open, almost kind of warehouse-style type tavern with, high beams. There's balconies all over, and just these faces and faces of people all looking up, and there's just complete and total silence. Get off the stage!
Okay, it's time for me to play some songs.
Who is this guy?
Hey, I didn't come here to see any nobodies. Why is there a janitor on the stage?
Sorry, guys, it's Nate.
Boo! Boo!
Okay, so I turn my back just to take a breath, and just to kind of gather myself, and then I start to pluck a string on my lute, and I start to play.
You raise your hand up and you go to find the strings, and you find yourself standing in a muggy hallway holding a mop and bucket. And again, you can hear the music all around you. You can see, like on the wooden lats of the floorboards, a trail that you've made as you were kind of mopping it. Behind you, you can hear the music just pumping and the audience going nuts.
I drop the broom and I run towards the music to kind of see who's playing.
You run towards the stage. As you do, you just hear, "Thank you, good night, we have been Forever Rock. ROQUE." Just don't forget that part. And the crowd are just going absolutely mental. And you just see this 5-piece band, 2 halflings, an elf, and an Ara Corcoran just kind of coming off the stage.
Who was the guy that said, "We are Forever Rock"?
The Ara Corcoran.
I am just going to take a beeline and rugby tackle him, just like spear him.
Give me a strength check with disadvantage.
Strength. 10.
You charge at him, and you kind of go to, literally, like you said, pile drive into him almost. And as you do, he just kind of takes a step around, he just moves his body, and you slam into the steps, and everyone is looking down at you. You can see the expressions of all those people who are all quite puzzled, and you just hear a voice kind of out of nowhere. "Are you okay, love?" just out of nowhere, this voice kind of comes. You don't see anybody's lips move, but you just hear a voice saying, "Are you okay, love?"
Yeah, and
And everyone else just kind of, they're all kind of whispering. Like, who's this guy? Like, who are you?
do you want me to play a song?
The Aarakocra kind of cocks an eyebrow and kind of looks at everybody else. Sir, why would we have some nobody janitor play on that stage?
Who do you think you're talking to,
I think
buddy?
I'm talking to a nobody, buddy. And he just down on top of you, and everyone just starts laughing.
I start crying.
The laughter just gets louder and louder and louder, and like everyone just they're all just pointing at you, and there in the crowd you just see, kind of trying to weave through it, this hooded figure. There's something sort of glistening off of her. You can just, she's the one thing in all of this that you're latching onto as some sort of anchor. You feel the roof overhead, there's just a darkness looming, and it's just dripping downwards, and she's fighting her way through the crowd, and she just throws out a hand, and it's all you hear is, "Just take my hand," and we cut to Thea. "Get up." You just hear a voice just kind of shout, and then you feel the cot rock as if someone has just kind of kicked you awake.
I snap up and look around.
You feel the carriage or the cot that you're in kind of rattle and shake. Overhead, you hear the sound of tin cups, boxes, even kind of some glass and dust kind of clinking. Standing over you, the smell of stale ale kind of wafting from his mouth. His beard is kind of matted and greasy. Kind of staring down at you is your father.
Dad?
What bloody time do you call this?
I scuttle up and I go to hug him.
You reach out to embrace him. As you do, he grabs you by the scuff of your nightdress and just kind of, with one hand, just kind of swings you around the room that you're in this cart. He doesn't slam you into it, but you kind of naturally, with the kind of the momentum of the carriage, you're banged into the kind of a dresser with some stuff on it.
What bloody time do you call this?
I look around to see what he's trying to get me to look at, I suppose. Is there a clock or something he's trying to show me? Or?
You're in kind of a small traveling wagon. Outside, you can, in between the sound of the wooden frame of the cart kind of warbling back and forth and the sound of the hooves, you just hear, you can kind of hear birds singing. So it must be morning.
It's morning? I'm sorry.
He squats down to look at you dead in the eye, and your father wasn't a tall man. And as he does, you catch your reflection in a small square mirror your mother had owned. And there, standing opposite you, looking kind of directly dead in the eyes, is the 8-year-old version of you.
You have chores. Your brother had to make breakfast this morning because you couldn't get your lazy, idle ass out of bed.
Dad, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to.
Sorry doesn't put breakfast on a plate. Lunch, dinner are yours. Get out front and mind the horses.
And he in your nightdress, he just shoves you out the door. And the carriage kind of comes to a stall, and you fall from the door into the dirt.
I kind of push myself up on my hands, and I can feel my face starting to get warm as I'm starting to get upset by the whole thing.
As you kind of press yourself up to get, a hand just reaches out for you. Looking up, you see your brother, and he takes your hand and he kind of pulls you up, and suddenly you're standing outside a house in Tezra. It's that man's house, the guy. You followed him here. He didn't see you. Nobody saw you. Nobody sees you. You can feel your heart beating in your chest. Inside, you can hear him talking. You know his voice anywhere.
My brother's still with me, is he?
There's
just me.
It's just you. It's the dead of night. You can see kind of a lone candle lit, just kind of flickering in the window.
I go to to look in through the window to see if I can see him.
He's a clerk he works in the Temple District. He looks every bit as perfect as you had imagined, and he hasn't noticed you. You've remained kind of hidden in the shadows. You see him kind of like he's kind of preparing something, and then he's smiling, and then he kind of looks up, and for a moment it's almost like you made contact, and you can feel your heart just flutter. And then you just hear a voice. You bone idle, lazy girl, what have I told you? You hear the footsteps of your father jump and land in the dirt behind you as your brother pulls you to your feet. You're now covered in dirt.
I turn around and I stare quite frightened at my dad, which is a very odd...
Is everything okay here? And you just hear this really badly cockney accent woman, this voice just kind of coming out of nowhere.
I look around to see who that is. I'm feeling very confused.
Kind of stepping around the side of the carriage, you see this robed figure. She's quite tall. As she kind of turns to your father, kind of turns his head and, who the bloody hell do you think you are? She pulls back the hood, and you see this slender, dark-skinned woman. As you're kind of taking all this in around you, you notice that you were thrown out of the carriage at the crack of dawn, and now it's just darkness, and it seems to be kind of seeping in, almost like if you were to take a droplet of ink and squeeze it into water. It's that darkness is starting to kind of take over everything around you. We cut to Thane.
I'm sleeping.
There is a warmth just kind of washes over you, and you feel a hand just kind of run fingers through your hair. As you kind of blink your eyes open, you can see like the rays of the dawn sun just kind of pouring in the window around you, and the blankets are kind of tousled. There is a faint kind of smell of kind of fresh cut flowers, old books, and just there's kind of a serenity in the air. And then you feel that hand that was running through its hair kind of stroke its way down your right cheek, and then turn your head. As your eyes kind of focus on what's around, you feel these lips pressed against yours, and as they pull back, you see the deep hazelnut eyes of Grace staring back at you. Her hair, shaved on the left hand side, is kind of pulled back over, and it's kind of resting on the pillow, and she just smiles.
Hey, good morning.
Morning.
So, what are we doing today? It's pretty early.
You tell me. You're the boss, tough guy. And she rolls over on top of you.
Okay, yeah. Maybe I am very buff and strong and manly, obviously, but yeah, whatever. It's no jobs today, nothing going on in the city. We can just do what we want, I guess.
That's going to have to wait. And she rolls off of you, and then kind of rolls the sheet that you were kind of both draped in a minute ago around her.
I am naked. Hang on.
And she just laughs, and she runs out.
Let me find a boot
of the room.
I put on a boot and then another.
As you go to pull on, your underclothes and your boots
and my overclothes,
and then your overclothes, suddenly a wind just blasts you in the back, and you just feel snow and ice and sleet stinging your skin at the edges of your eyes. It's numb, but there's still a kind of a pain, and the same sort of sensation around your ears, your lips, the tips of your fingers. And you just feel the warmth trickling of blood rushing down your back.
I would
and you just
draw my sword.
You grab your sword. As you reach for your sword, you just hear a scream echoing through this thick fog of snow and sleet. It's just a woman screaming your name, Thane. Thane, where are you? And you hear it's Grace's voice just screaming for you.
I immediately run towards it.
Give me a strength check with disadvantage.
That's a 5.
You clamber to your feet. The screams and the shouts of battle, the clanging of swords, the grunts of fallen men, just their last breaths. It's just all whipped up into this frenzy, and nothing makes sense. This isn't how this job was supposed to go down. It wasn't meant to be like this. As you kind of clamber to your feet and you reach for your sword to kind of push yourself up, you feel the strength in your bones just dissipate entirely, almost as if that was the last of the energy in you, and you fall forward. There's a darkness creeping around the edges. This feels like it's happened before. And then in the distance, Hazy running towards you, frantically swinging her halberd overhead. You just see Grace charging through the attack, the ambush. And as she rushes, everything just goes completely and totally dark around you. You can feel her pulling on your chest and trying to lift you up, and then it's gone. That was pretty dark, wasn't it? You just hear a voice.
Hello?
Well, hello there, Thane.
Who are you?
You will know my name soon. I think it only fair to tell you, Thane Greyline, you have died.
Yeah, well... Fine, but that isn't gonna stop me.
No, but this might. And then you just feel 5 razor-sharp fingers just plunge themselves into your chest. And you just hear kind of, oh, I don't like that. I really don't like that at all.
I hate it.
And then just out of the darkness around you, you just see this woman kind of looking a little bit perplexed. And she goes, okay, out of all the dreams I have been in so far, this is probably the... And she's kind of half tiptoeing around kind of this frozen scene, and you can see her, and everything seems to be kind of happening. Everything else around you seems to be happening in kind of slow motion. She goes, okay, I haven't really got a whole lot of time left here. You need to wake up. This is a dream. Hephaestus. You just hear you just hear the sound of a rooster crowing. The sun begins to break. You roll over onto your side, and lying there, still very, very much sound asleep, is the man of your dreams, your soulmate, the object of your affection and devotion, Nathaniel Obsidian McKnight. And as you feel the smile curl up the side of your face, you just hear kind of the pitter-patter of feet running up the hallway. And Mommy! In barging through the door are half Ganassi, half elf, half...
Quarter elf.
Quarter elf, quarter human little children, a boy and a girl, twins. It's little Thane and little Fia. The little girl just kind of reaches up, and you see that she's got a dolly. It's kind of grey and kind of washed out, and it's always kind of giving you a bit of crease, but she's attached to it, and it was a gift from your aunt, Evelyn. She reaches up, and she's like, Mommy, I'm hungry.
Scoop her up.
You kind of pull her up into the bed, and then little Thane just kind of soldiers his way up as well. He just kind of half clambers up. As you kind of lift him up off the bed as well, he kind of gives a kind of he's a little bit more kind of boisterous and not defensive about being pulled up, but he doesn't want it. He can do it. He's a big boy. You've got them both in the bed, and as you kind of roll over, Nathaniel wakes up.
Ah, there's my favorite person.
Morning.
How you doing, Angel?
Great.
Come here, and I sort of get in real close, and I like lips sort of purse, but I flutter my lips and give a little like on the cheek.
Give me a wisdom saving throw with disadvantage.
5.
You just feel your heart race for a moment, and your skin tingles. It doesn't feel good. And then you just hear the kids go, ew, no, we don't want to see any of that. No, no. As you go to kiss or reciprocate, you find yourself standing in the kitchen. It's about midday and your hands are deep in a bowl of flour and water and grain, and you're just kind of mixing it. Kind of around you, the kids are kind of running, and out in the yard you see Nathaniel. It's his day off. He is tending to the farm and the garden, and he's kind of approaching the door with a bushel of turnips.
A nice turnip pie. Sweetie, look at my turnips. They're huge. I don't know.
They are the most hugest, bulbiest turnips you've ever eyed before.
That's lovely, dear. Thanks.
You're welcome. And my garden peas, they're amazing. And the tomatoes, they're coming in, and my strawberries. Oh my God, it's my garden. I have to say, it's really brought so much joy to me.
Really, this guy? And you just standing, kind of her arms folded in the doorway, is this woman, brown leather boots, kind of just up past her knee. She's wearing sort of navy slacks that have been kind of pulled up, and then a blouse over. They're all kind of belted together to make it kind of look like one kind of awesome kind of pantsuit type thing. And there's a forest green kind of cloak over one shoulder, and on the other you just see this wing kind of sprouted from her back. Her hair is pulled back in a tight bun that kind of poofs out, and she just leans in and she's like, "Really, this guy? This is the man of your dream. This is meant to be a nightmare."
It is.
As she's looking around to go, where's the nightmare in this? You start to see on the edges of the room around you, everything starts to get darker, and then little Thane and little Fia just kind of begin to merge into that darkness. Standing there, just kind of smiling, holding out a large turnip, is Nate, who's just kind of smiling at you. Whatever you say. And she walks towards you and just puts a hand on your shoulder. All four of you wake up at the campfire with dawn just breaking. There's the bonfire has gone out because it requires concentration, and Thane fell asleep from exhaustion. Not because he's lazy.
He says
We'll
as
be
he
the
wakes
judge of
up,
that.
yeah.
Lazily. All four of you are just kind of, you all just kind of awaken with kind of it's that instantaneous, like, kind of like something just pulled you out of your sleep.
I leap up, like I jump up immediately, and I'm just like, what the... Hello? What's going on? And I like heat myself up, and I'm just like in a minor panic.
Festa, it's fine. We're just
Fia,
sleeping.
you're like, as you kind of wake up as well, you're kind of also pushed kind of slightly forward as like a Festa to kind of just jumps
you
to
out
her
of the
feet.
way.
And you're kind of shoved out of the way because you're in a blind panic.
And I'm kind of rubbing my eyes a little bit because I'm tearing up from what I remember of the dream, and trying not to let anyone see what I'm doing as well.
I'm sort of like catatonic, but like just very still, and tears are sort of running down my face, and I just look at everybody and I say, "Who am I?"
Nate? Are you all right, man?
I'm Nate. I'm Nate.
You have a longer name than that.
You know my name?
Yeah, man. Nathaniel Obsidian McKnight.
Oh my God, I'm famous again.
We met that one time on the job. You did a great job of it. You looked more like a half work at the time. I don't know why. And then you played that one show in the Prancing Mule.
And everybody loved it?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, they did.
Good.
Can I storm up to Nate and just say something nice to me?
You have a face?
Okay. All right, it was a dream.
I'm slowly clambering to my feet, kind of really zoned out, not really hearing what's going on beside me.
With the three of you kind of all kind of reacting in your own way, you all kind of turn to just see Fia just kind of half hunched over a little bit, visibly shaken, and there are just tears kind of running down her face.
Yeah, I kind of crouched down beside her. You all right? There.
I kind of try and shrug him off. I'm like, I'm fine. It's okay. I'm fine.
Give me a perception check, Thane. With advantage.
Oh yeah, nat 20.
Oh, you immediately it's your Fey radar goes off. Your Fadar.
Yeah, Fader.
Copyright Romancing the Dungeon.
These fucking suck at Wizards of the Coast.
Shut up. You immediately, just as you're kind of you want to reach out to Fia just to like genuinely cook. She does seem quite shaken. Those two are handling it their way, but Fia just seems a little bit kind of taken aback at what, like, maybe she had a bad dream as well, possibly. But as you kind of go to put a hand on her, immediately you just get, there's 3 distinct presence of the Fae. 2 are getting closer. 1 is a little bit further away to the east.
I stand up, I spin around, I kind of pull Fia up with me, and I point wherever I can feel that presence coming from. Like, hey, get out of there. I see you. None of this. Cut it out.
You just kind of see Thane point back to the road. Again, the road leading deeper into the Montague forest. As he's kind of pointing and he's shouting at this bush. Nothing happens for a moment. And then you just, all of you, see what looked like kind of blinking lights almost, or that kind of like hum of almost like neon glow just kind of emerge and kind of flit mid-air around. And then they come straight towards you. And you see 2 sprites, 1 male and 1 female. The woman is very, very pale, with sort of auburn red hair and piercing blue eyes. The male sprite looks like an asshole. The male sprite is wearing glasses that would protect you from the sun, and it's kind of mid-morning. It's not even mid-morning, it's early morning.
He's got Oakleys on.
Yeah. And he's kind of got thick stubble, and his hair is kind of short and spiky and kind of pulled up a little bit to the front. He's a little bit more like, whereas the girl is animated and kind of flitting a little bit more kind of excited, he's just kind of like playing it a little bit cooler.
Weary, dreary, sleepy bones, yawning, moaning, dreary groans. Rest your heads on comfy beds. Carry on further, but not far to roam. The jasmine garden calls you home.
The jasmine garden calls you home, bro. The smaller, the sprite with the girl with red hair is just really animated about this, and she's giving full socks to this, and her, it's almost like a little cabaret routine with her.
Don't bro me. You little... Why are you here?
We're hosts for a tavern. It looks like you guys are lost. I mean, do you want us to do the poem again?
No.
And immediately the girl just starts
Weary, dreary, sleepy.
I will blind you.
Calm down now.
She immediately just kind of retreats into herself and just kind of starts to play with like the ends of the kind of the shirt that she's wearing, just kind of nervously.
Seeing Thane do this, because he could probably kind of pointing at them, I reach out, I bat his hand down to like kind of leave her alone.
I raise my other one and I'm like, okay, let's take a step back. Sorry that I snapped at you, you tiny strange people. Why are you here?
So, we work at the Jasmine Garden, and we were just maybe wondering if you would like possibly to come there and rest your weary, dreary bones. Sleepy bones and dreary groans. There, we've got some comfy beds. If you would like,
we're gonna have to have a team meeting on this. And I like huddle.
And your man's, if your man had a cell phone, he'd be on it, chewing gum. Yeah, whatever.
We just rested. Like, do we want to?
I didn't rest very well.
I could eat.
I could sleep again.
Eat, sleep, repeat. There's something in there. Okay, tiny people.
Like, chill or whatever. I mean, you know we can hear you, yeah?
Yeah, we can hear you. We're just like...
No, we heard you, brah. So...
Okay, bro.
Yeah.
It's cool.
So we have like a coupon or something.
I knew it. They're trying to sell us something.
I'm sorry, I never got your name.
my name is Pandora.
And she kind of winces into herself a little bit and kind of like looks up at you kind of all doe-eyed.
Pandora, what a beautiful name that is.
Thanks.
Disgusting.
You're welcome.
Birch. Brah.
Cool. Didn't ask. Where's this Jasmine Palace?
And he just
I said I was hungry.
It's the buffet style. He just kind of rolls his head, not in his eyes, he just rolls his head and he's like, this way. And he kind of starts to kind of lazily fly back up the road, again, further away from the road that you came through. Pandora just kind of looks back and forth at Yi and him, and she just kind of, this way, and she flits off again, and he's flying in a straight line, and she's kind of doing that kind of like stereotypical flit this way and then flit that way, and then she's just going to more effort to make kind of a bit of a show.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to go get the reins of Twilight Sparkle.
Yeah, do you
that's
guys
right.
take horses?
She looks back, and she's just nodding.
Oh, well, they take horses.
Not as payment.
Yes, I would like one horse, please.
We could work something out.
No, Twilight Sparkle.
You're all following?
Yeah.
Yes.
Immediately as you get up and you just out of the thicket, kind of like a little bit like, oh, you guys got a little ahead of me there. And you turn back to see a third sprite, her hair pulled back thick and black into a poof, these large silver butterfly wings kind of just glistening, and a thick forest green cloak kind of tied over one shoulder and kind of just floating around her. She kind of flits past all of you. Name's Lavender. Pleased to meet ya. And she winks, and she just flits up behind the other two. That was episode 11. If you like what you heard and you want to know more about the show and the world of Romancing the Dungeon, then check us out on social media at D8 Dungeon. There's plenty of behind the scenes shenanigans, giveaways, and a growing community of daters. Special thanks to listener Autumn O'Reilly for coming up with the names of our 3 sprites, Lavender, Pandora, and Birch. Our theme music, Love Chords, is by Martin the Freshman Rhine. We're back in 2 weeks' time, so we'll see you then. I'm trying to think of a really bad Irish accent, like Colin Farrell in like Daredevil. And how do I get there? Bad Irish.
Breakfast, lunch, and fucking dinner.
Yeah, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I can't do bad Irish accents. I just can't do accents. Dinner.